Love is an incredibly powerful emotion, and for some people, it can be overwhelming. When a man starts to develop deep feelings, he may not know how to handle them right away. Society often teaches men to suppress their emotions, to be strong, and to always be in control. Because of this, when love comes into the picture, it can shake the foundation of what they've always believed about themselves and relationships. When a man ignores you, it might not be because he doesn't care it, might actually be the opposite. He could be taking a step back to process what he's feeling. Love brings vulnerability, and for many men, vulnerability is uncomfortable. They might not have the words to express what they're feeling, or they could be afraid of saying the wrong thing. Instead of rushing into a conversation they're not ready for, they retreat into their own space to figure things out. Another reason he may be processing his emotions is because he wants to be sure about his feelings before he expresses them. Some men don't like to act on impulse when it comes to love. They prefer to take their time, analyze their emotions, and be certain about how they truly feel before committing fully. If he's been hurt in the past, he may be even more cautious, fearing that if he rushes in without thinking, he could end up heartbroken again. In some cases, he might also be struggling with internal conflicts that have nothing to do with you. Maybe he's dealing with personal insecurities, stress from work, or pressure from family and friends. He doesn't want to bring those problems into the relationship, so instead, he steps back to sort them out alone. Many men are wired to solve problems independently, and if he truly cares about you, he might not want to burden you with his struggles. It's important to remember that processing feelings doesn't mean he's pushing you away permanently. It means he's trying to understand himself better so he can show up for you in the best way possible. Rather than feeling rejected, take this as a sign that he values the relationship enough to want to be emotionally prepared before fully opening up. A strong, healthy relationship is built on two individuals who can stand on their own before coming together. Love should complement your life, not complete it. When a man loves you, he doesn't want you to rely entirely on him for your happiness, your sense of self-worth, or your emotional stability. Instead, he wants to know that you are strong, confident, and capable of thriving on your own. When he ignores you or creates distance, it might be his way of testing your independence. He wants to see if you can still be happy without constant validation from him. Some men worry that if they are always available, their partner might become too dependent on them. They fear that the relationship will shift from a partnership to an emotional crutch, where they feel pressured to always be the source of happiness and stability. Independence in a relationship is crucial. If a man sees that you can maintain your confidence, pursue your goals, and continue living your life without constantly needing his attention, it reassures him that the relationship is balanced. It shows him that you're with him because you truly want to be, not because you need to be. This is a key difference. A love that comes from choice is much stronger than a love that comes from necessity. Additionally, if he truly loves you, he wants to admire you. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own passions, ambitions, and dreams. If he notices that you're able to focus on your personal growth, your career, your friendships, and your hobbies, even when he's not around, it makes you even more attractive in his eyes. He sees you as someone who brings value to the relationship rather than someone who depends on it for their entire sense of identity. At times, he may even create space intentionally to observe how you react. If you panic, constantly chase after him, or feel lost without his presence, it might raise concerns for him about the health of the relationship. But if you continue to thrive, to enjoy your life, and to show that you are emotionally secure, it reassures him that your love is built on a strong foundation. It's also important to remember that love isn't about control or ownership. A man who truly loves you doesn't want to own your time or emotion. She wants to be part of your world, not your whole world. By giving you space, He's allowing you the opportunity to show that you are self-sufficient and confident, qualities that deepen the connection between you both. Love is a beautiful and transformative experience. But for some men, it can also feel like a loss of identity. When a man deeply cares about someone, he may start to feel like his sense of self is shifting. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but for some, it can be overwhelming. If he pulls away or ignores you, it might be because he's afraid of losing himself in the relationship. Many men grow up with the belief that they need to be independent, strong, and self sufficient. They build their lives around their careers, ambitions, friendships, and personal goals. When love enters the picture, it can disrupt the balance they've carefully built. Suddenly, they find themselves making compromises, adjusting their schedules, and considering someone else in their decision making process. While this is a natural part of any healthy relationship, for some men, it can feel like they're losing control over their own lives. He might fear that being too involved in the relationship will make him lose touch with his individuality. Perhaps he's worried that he'll have to give up his passion, spend less time with friends, or sacrifice certain personal goals. Even if he loves you deeply, he may need space to reassure himself that he can still maintain his own identity while being in a relationship. Past experiences can also play a role in this fear. If he has been in relationships where he lost himself, where he gave so much that he no longer recognized who he was, might be extra cautious this time. He doesn't want to repeat the same mistakes. So instead of diving in completely, he steps back to make sure he's not losing sight of himself. Another factor could be his fear of becoming overly dependent on you. Just as you value independence, he does too. If he feels like his happiness is becoming too tied to the relationship, he may pull away to regain a sense of balance. He wants to love you without feeling like he's losing himself in the process. Sometimes men also distance themselves when they feel they are no longer in control of their emotions. If he finds himself thinking about you all the time, prioritizing you over his personal goals, or feeling like his emotions are stronger than he expected, it might scare him. He may retreat, not because he doesn't care, but because he's trying to reestablish a sense of control over his own life. A man's fear of losing himself in a relationship doesn't mean he doesn't love you. In fact, it often means the opposite. He loves you so much that he's trying to make sure he can be the best version of himself while being with you. In relationships, there's often a delicate balance between showing love and maintaining a sense of mystery or value. Some men believe that being too available can make them seem less attractive or desirable. If he loves you but ignores you at times, it might be his way of ensuring that the relationship doesn't become one sided or predictable. Men, like women, have emotional needs, but many are taught from a young age that they should be independent and avoid appearing overly eager in romantic relationships. Society often portrays men as the ones who should be chased rather than the ones doing all the chasing. Because of this, some men instinctively create distance, not because they don't care, but because they want to maintain a sense of attraction and excitement in the relationship. Another reason he may not want to seem too available is that he fears being taken for granted. When a person is always there, always responding instantly, and always making themselves available at any moment, it can sometimes lead to their presence being undervalued. He might believe that by creating a bit of space, you will appreciate him more when he does reach out. This doesn't mean he's playing gamesit, simply means he wants to feel like his presence is valued rather than expected. Additionally, if he has been hurt in the past, he might be cautious about giving too much too soon. Perhaps he's been in a relationship where he invested all of his time and energy only to be taken for granted or left feeling unappreciated. As a result, he may have learned to hold back a little, to pace himself emotionally, and to avoid making himself too available right away. Men also tend to be naturally competitive and goal oriented. In their careers, hobbies, and friendships, They're used to working towards something and earning results. Love is no different. If he feels like the relationship is moving too fast or that there's no challenge in winning your heart, he might step back to slow things down. He may want to ensure that the relationship maintains a sense of excitement rather than feeling like something that was too easily obtained. Another factor at play could be his need for independence. Even when a man deeply loves someone, he may still value his freedom and personal time. If he always makes himself available, he might feel like he's losing that sense of autonomy. By occasionally ignoring you or taking time for himself, he reassures himself that he still has control over his own life and choices. It's also worth noting that in the early stages of a relationship, some men believe in the less is more approach. They think that if they text too much, call too often, or constantly make plans, it might make them appear too eager. Love is an important part of life, but it is not the only part. A man who truly cares about you may sometimes step back, not because he doesn't love you, but because he is focusing on his personal growth. This can be one of the hardest things to understand in a relationship, especially when all you want is closeness, attention, and reassurance. However, for many men, self improvement is a necessary step before they can fully commit to a relationship. Men often feel a deep sense of responsibility when they are in love. They don't just want to be present in your life, they want to be a provider, a protector, and a source of strength. If he feels like he isn't in the right place emotionally, financially, or mentally, he might distance himself to work on becoming the best version of himself. He doesn't want to bring half of himself into the relationship. He wants to offer his full potential. For some men, this means focusing on their career or financial stability. They want to ensure that they can provide for a future family, achieve their goals, or feel a sense of accomplishment before fully dedicating themselves to a relationship. If he is working late nights, investing time in a business, or trying to reach a personal milestone, it might explain why he is not as emotionally present as before. It doesn't mean he loves you any less. It means he sees the bigger picture and wants to be the kind of man who can stand confidently beside you. Emotional growth is another key aspect of personal development. Some men realize that they still have unresolved trauma, insecurities, or emotional baggage from past relationships, childhood experiences, or personal failures. If he is taking time away, it could be because he recognizes that he needs to heal before fully committing to the relationship. A man who loves you deeply wants to give you the best version of himself. And sometimes that requires stepping back to work on his inner struggles. Moreover, men often value their sense of identity. They don't want to feel like they are losing themselves in a relationship. If he was once passionate about certain hobbies, fitness, or personal interests, and he starts to feel like he's neglecting them, he may need space to reconnect with himself. This doesn't mean he wants to be away from you. It means he wants to maintain the things that make him feel confident and fulfilled so he can bring that same energy into the relationship. A man who is focused on personal growth is not abandoning you. He is investing in himself so he can be a better partner. Instead of seeing his distance as a lack of love, try to see it as his way of making sure he can show up for you in the best way possible. Love is a two-way street built on mutual appreciation and respect. When a man loves you but begins to pull away or ignore you, it might not be because he's losing interest, it could be because he wants you to value him more. He wants to feel important, appreciated, and desired just as much as you do. Sometimes creating a little distance is his way of seeing if you truly care about him as much as he cares about you. Human nature often works in a way where we tend to take things for granted when they are always available. If he is always texting first, always making plans, and always showing up without hesitation, he may start to feel like his efforts go unnoticed. He might wonder if you would still reach out if he stopped, if you would miss him when he's gone, or if you would fight for the relationship the way he does. By stepping back, he's observing how much effort you're willing to put into the connection. Men, just like women, have emotional needs. They want to feel admired, respected, and valued in a relationship. If he feels like his efforts are being overlooked, he may start to withdraw to see if you notice his absence. This isn't about playing games, it's about needing reassurance that his presence in your life truly matters. He wants to know that he is not just an option, but someone you genuinely appreciate. Another reason a man may create distance to be valued more is because of the chase element in relationships. Many men enjoy the excitement of pursuit, but they also want to feel pursued. If he feels like he's the only one putting in the work, he may start to wonder if you're equally invested. By stepping back, he gives you the opportunity to show that you want him in your life, not because he's constantly reaching out, but because you genuinely miss him and desire his presence. Additionally, men sometimes withdraw because they want to reset the dynamic in the relationship. If he feels like the relationship is becoming one-sided where he's always giving and not receiving much in return, he may take a step back to encourage balance. He wants to see if when he stops putting in so much effort, you will step forward to meet him halfway. A healthy relationship requires both partners to contribute, and if he senses an imbalance, he may create distance to see if you will take the initiative. It's also possible that he is testing the strength of your connection. If he pulls away and you don't seem to notice or care, it may confirm his fears that you're not as invested as he is. But if you reach out, express your feelings, and make an effort to reconnect, it reassures him that your love is real and mutual. Ultimately, a man wants to feel like he is valued not just for what he does, but for who he is. If he distances himself, it might be his way of ensuring that he is not just a habit in your life, but someone you truly cherish. At the heart of it all, love is not just about constant attention, it's about balance, growth, and understanding. If a man pulls away, it doesn't always mean he's losing interest. Sometimes it means he is processing his emotions, ensuring that the relationship is built on strong foundations, or even testing the depth of your connection. Instead of seeing his silence as rejection, see it as an opportunity to reflect, grow, and strengthen your own self-worth. A relationship should never be about chasing someone for validation. It should be about two individuals who choose each other every single day. So don't lose yourself in the process of loving someone else. Stay confident, stay strong, and most importantly, love yourself first. Because when you do, the right person, someone who truly values you, will always find their way back to you. And when they do, it won't be because they felt obligated, it will be because they truly see your worth.